The two-night documentary George Carlin's American Dream allows you to revisit his best jokes and discover more about his life and his career as a revolutionary stand-up comedian who passed away in 2008 at the age of 71. May 20 to 21 on HBO and HBO Max. Here are the top 10 things you should know about The New Yorker. Number 1. Almost aborted. There was hardly no George. His mother was sitting in the waiting room of the abortionist when she noticed a painting on the wall that made her think of her own recently deceased mother. She read it as a sign and decided against continuing. George was strongly pro-choice despite this. Number 2. Wanted to be like Danny Kaye when he was younger. Danny Kaye was my childhood dream when I was 10, 11, Carlin said of the actor, singer, dancer, physical comedian, musician. I kind of looked at that and thought, gee, I can do that. He makes funny faces, he talks in funny accents, and he can do very, very intricate vocal pieces. Number 3. Had always been interested in profanity. The most colorful expletives he overheard in his area were noted down and stashed in his pocket. His mother discovered them in the wallet when he was 13. Carlin asserted that he heard her tell his uncle that she thought George ought to see a psychiatrist. Number 4. Used to be a DJ. When George was 11 years old, he already had his future path mapped out. He would begin as a radio DJ, then use it to transition into stand-up comedy and acting. Number 5. A keeper. George maintained voluminous records, about 1,300 separate files, encompassing 44 years' worth of collecting thoughts, notions, ideas, pieces of data, and material. When he discovered that other comedians didn't maintain such files, he was usually startled. Number 6. Credits to credit. George attributed a portion of his eventual comedic success to the 18 to 20 years he spent racking up a hefty tax debt. This debt, which at times reached 7 figures, compelled him to constantly perform on the road in order to generate the revenue necessary to pay it off. Without such pressure, George later believed he would have concentrated more on pursuing a career in film, which, in his opinion, would not have succeeded, and he would not have developed into the accomplished comic that he did. Number 7. Court-martialed in the Air Force, more than once. Carlin worked at Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana as a radar technician on B-47s. On the base, he smoked marijuana that had been sent to him by mail from New York. The others were unaware of the fragrance. After drinking cooking wine and berating his tech sergeant to celebrate the Brooklyn Dodgers winning the 1955 World Series, he was once court-martialed. He passed out during a simulated combat training and was court-martialed once more. Number 8. His arrest for using the 7 profane words was nearly worse. After performing stand-up at Summerfest in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in 1972, Carlin was detained for obscenity. The 6 officers were unaware that Carlin had cocaine in his pocket just before they approached him. Carlin's wife appeared on stage during the performance to bring him a pitcher of water and advise him to exit the stage to the right because police were standing by on the left. He exited stage right as his show was over and gave the narcotics to a band. Number 9. Although he was the first host of Saturday Night Live, he did not recall the event. Prior to October 11, 1975, when he did stand-up and welcomed Billy Preston and Janice Ian as the musical guests of the first episode, he was heavy on cocaine all week long. Dave Wilson, the veteran director of SNL, and Carlin shared a childhood summer camp experience. George would perform monologues for the Saturday night talent shows when he was younger. Wilson had been winning the competitions for years when Carlin eventually defeated him. Carlin was also the first ever host of Fridays, 1980 to 1982, ABC's attempted version of SNL. George eventually got kicked out of camp for stealing film from the owner's camera to take his own photographs. When Lorne Michaels asked Carlin about performing the hosting duties, he replied, "Well, I know the director." Number 10. Did not vote. George decided against voting since he now saw it as a pointless ritual. "I stopped voting because I could see it didn't make any difference," he said. "This charade every 4 years of moving things around a little bit. It's all one party, it's one agenda, and you're given this illusion of choice."